So, what really makes a business tick? Is it all just about making money, or is there something deeper going on? We're about to dig into the core motivations that drive pretty much every business decision, and believe me, the answer is way more interesting than you might think.
If you ask someone what a business wants, 9 times out of 10, they'll say profit. And look, they're not wrong, but that's not the whole story. The full picture is this fascinating and sometimes messy balancing act between a whole bunch of competing desires.
All right, to really get this, we have to start with the idea of business objectives. The best way to think about these is like a map and a compass for a company. They are the specific, measurable goals that a business is actively trying to hit. Without them, a company is just drifting around with no real direction.
And they're just absolutely crucial, right? They give everyone a clear target to aim for. Suddenly, every decision gets filtered through one simple question. Does this get us closer to our goal? It gets everyone on the same page, pulling in the same direction. And maybe most importantly, it tells you what winning actually looks like for your company. So while objectives can be all over the place, for most businesses in the private sector, they're usually chasing some combination of four big ones: survival, profit, growth, and grabbing more market share. Let's break each of those down. First up is the most fundamental goal of all, just plain survival. For a brand new startup or, any company trying to weather a tough recession, the main objective isn't world domination. No, it's literally just about making it to the next day, the next month, the next year. This could mean you have to slash prices just to keep customers coming in, even if it hurts your profits for a little while. Next, we've got profit. This is the lifeblood of pretty much any private business. And what is it really? Well, it's the money that's left over after you've paid all your bills, and it is absolutely essential for the long-term health of a company. So why is profit such a big deal? Well, it does a few really critical things. First, it pays back the owners and investors who took a risk on the business in the first place. Second, that cash is what you use to invest in new ideas and to grow. And third, if you're a public company, that profit is where dividends come from, the things that keep your shareholders happy. Okay, so once a business has its feet under it, it's surviving, it's making a profit, then the focus often shifts to growth. This just means getting bigger, usually by selling more stuff or making more stuff. And growth isn't just about bragging rights. A bigger company is usually a safer, more secure company. It can also offer better pay and more prestige to its managers, and it has the muscle to push into new areas. Our fourth goal kind of builds right on top of growth. It's all about market share. See, this isn't just about getting bigger. It's about how big you are compared to everybody else in your industry. It's your company's slice of the total pie. And the math here is actually pretty simple. Let's say the entire smartphone market is worth $100 million. If your company sells $20 million worth of phones, your market share is 20%. For a lot of businesses, the number one goal is to make that percentage bigger every single year. And why does that matter so much? Because having a bigger slice of that pie, well, that gives you power, real power. You get great publicity. You can go around saying you're number one. Your suppliers are way more likely to give you good deals, and you start to have a lot more say over the prices that everybody pays. Okay, so we've got these goals: survival, profit, growth, market share. But they don't just exist in a vacuum, right? The real question is, who are these goals for? And that brings us to a super important group of people, the stakeholders. You've got to picture a business at the center of this big, complicated web. On the inside, you've got the owners, the managers, the employees, and on the outside, you have customers, suppliers, the government, and even the local community. So that's what a stakeholder is. Pretty much anyone who's got skin in the game when it comes to how a business is doing. But here's the kicker. They don't all want the same thing, not even close. Just look at this. It's a total clash of interests, right? The owners want maximum profit. The workers want a steady paycheck and to know they'll have a job tomorrow. The managers want big salaries and the prestige that comes with a growing company. Customers, they want a good deal. And the community wants jobs, but they don't want a polluted river. You starting to see the problem here? And this right here, this is the heart of the challenge for any business leader. Because so often, making one of these groups happy means another group is going to be pretty unhappy. Every big decision is a choice about who to prioritize and who to disappoint. It's just like this image shows. It is a constant tug of war. A business is always being pulled in different directions by all these competing demands from its stakeholders. It forces managers to make tough calls and compromises literally every single day.
Let's take a classic conflict. You've got the owners on one side, they want to maximize profits, and one way to do that is to keep costs, like wages, down. But the workers? They want the exact opposite, higher wages and more job security. That's a fundamental conflict built right into the system.
Or how about this one? The managers might be pushing for growth. Let's build a huge new factory. And hey, that means more jobs, which the local community loves. But what about the pollution that factory might create? The community definitely does not want that. So now what do you do?
And then there's the one we all feel every day, the push and pull between owners and customers. To make more profit, owners might want to jack up the prices. But we, the customers, are always looking for the best deal, which means we want lower prices. You just can't make both sides perfectly happy at the same time.
Now, this whole balancing act gets even more complicated when you zoom out and ask a really fundamental question. Who actually owns this whole operation? Because whether a business is privately owned or run by the government changes the entire game.
And this is where everything kind of flips on its head. For a private company, the primary mission, the number one priority, is financial. Profit, growth, shareholder returns. Social goals are usually secondary. But when you look at a public organization, say a city's bus system, the mission is totally different. It's about providing a service. The financial stuff is just a means to that end. The social and financial goals basically trade places.
So at the end of the day, there's no single right goal for every organization out there. A business's objectives are defined entirely by who it was created to serve in the first place, whether that's a small group of private shareholders or all of us, the general public.
And that's the question I want to leave you with. The next time you see a company make a big move, raising a price, opening a new factory, whatever it is, ask yourself, in that giant tug of war between all the stakeholders we talked about, who just won? Who is that business really serving?